So you are looking for some of the best value picks in fantasy this year, specifically redraft leagues. Let's talk about it. Okay, we have 2 players each that we're going to bring. I'll explain in a second. I'm going to start here. We're going to give 2 talking points each and really just try and help you guys win your drafts. I'll go first. And I'm actually going to start with my second topic I was going to talk about. I'm just most passionate about this topic in particular.
Sure.
And my value pick, it's not a player. I have a player for my second one, but it's a position, okay? And for me, the biggest value in a 1 quarterback redraft league, that's what I'm speaking to specifically right here with this point, is all quarterbacks, okay?
Right.
And what I mean by that is quarterbacks who are going late round. Okay, late round quarterbacks, I think, are some of the best values in 1 quarterback leagues this year. Let's look at some notable quarterbacks who have been available in the 10th round onwards in the last 4 mock drafts we've done on this channel. Okay, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Trey Lance, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa. Okay. I think there's huge value for these guys. And also, I think it really improves your team construction. And I'm going to keep preaching this the entire offseason for redraft leagues, 1 quarterback redraft leagues. Wait on the quarterback position, okay? Wait at least until the 10th round. 10th round is where I'm probably going to start drafting all my quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's going to go in the second, if we're talking real drafts. Mahomes, Herbert, maybe in the second, probably in the third. Let's look at the players that are going around Josh Allen right now. Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Zeke, Breece Hall, James Conner, Keenan Allen, Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette. Okay. Players going around Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. You got J.K. Dobbins, Josh Jacobs, Michael Pittman, Jalen Waddle. These are really important pieces, foundational pieces to your redraft team. Now let's look at players that are going around that tier that I mentioned earlier, the Daks, the Russ, the Trey, the Aaron Rodgers, the Carr, the Kirks, right? You got Tyler Higbee, James Robinson, Tyler Algier, Jacoby Myers, Michael Carter, MVS, Tyler Boyd, and Mike Gesicki. The tiers of these positional players are drastically different. Most of the guys in this 10th round and onwards, right? These guys aren't starters for your team. You're not probably going to be able to start James Robinson, Jacoby Myers, Michael Carter, Tyler Boyd. Most of these guys, the tier of talent from the positional groups is so much lower. These aren't startable assets.
Yeah.
So personally, I would much rather lose out on the top quarterbacks and get good starting options later rather than missing out on those foundational pieces. Round 2 to 5 is so crucial for your team when it comes to running backs and wide receivers, right? And by the way, the difference between quarterback 6 and quarterback 12 last year on a points per game basis was 2.2 points per game, okay? Point being, the league is stacked on quality quarterbacks right now. Stacked. I mean, you can find a quality quarterback very late in drafts. And by the way, anyone out there who is drafting multiple quarterbacks in a 1 quarterback league, why are you doing that? All right? Quarterbacks don't get injured very often, especially with how the NFL is protecting them nowadays. And typically that quarterback is just wasting space on your bench. Benches in redraft leagues are not all that big, 5-6 spots typically. And you really want that flexibility to work the waiver wire. So for me, it doesn't make sense for people to carry more than 1 quarterback. You're only really going to use it through waivers. And also, there's not trade value for a quarterback in a 1 quarterback league. If you go out there and you have Josh Allen and then you draft Derek Carr later, no one's giving you a starting running back, a starting wide receiver, a starting tight end for Derek Carr. It's just not happening because quarterbacks are probably in the trade market in redraft, 1 quarterback league again, they're probably the least valuable trade asset. They really are. Tight ends are more valuable. Starting tight ends, quality starting tight ends, right? Running backs, wide receivers. These guys are much harder to come by. And if you look at the average finish for the past 2 years, for those guys that I just talked about, Dak, quarterback 7. He didn't play the year before. Okay. Russ, quarterback 11, but he's typically top 10. Last year was just bad. Kirk, quarterback 11, 2 years in a row. Carr, quarterback 13, 2 years in a row. Now he adds Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers, he's been the quarterback 4 averaging over the last 2 years. Trey Lance, haven't seen it. The rushing upside's there. The weapons are there. The offensive schemes are there. So I'm always the most happy with my redraft teams whenever I wait on quarterback. I think my running backs are stronger. My wide receiver depth is stronger. I would much rather have my third wide receiver and running back before I even look at the quarterback position, as well as a solid tight end, than going quarterback. There's probably 16 quarterbacks I'm okay to start this year.
Right.
So for me, I think the one thing I want to preach the most this offseason for this specific format is do not draft a quarterback in the second round. Stop wasting these picks with how valuable running backs and wide receivers are this year. So that would be my first value pick. It's kind of late round quarterbacks.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we both do the exact same thing in a redraft perspective.
Yeah.
We just never take a quarterback in the early rounds.
Yeah.
All right, my first value pick is Gabriel Davis. And reason why, in my opinion, he is a value pick is kind of where he's going. He's going in the mid-8th. He was in our past 2 mock drafts, wide receiver 41 and wide receiver 42 in the one before that. Players going around him: Hunter Renfrow, Christian Kirk, Roberto Woods, Tyler Lockett, Chris Olave, and Garrett Wilson. For sure, these are guys that are probably going to, these rookie guys are probably going to, come onto the scene. But when does that really happen with rookies? It's really hard to really trust a rookie and be like, you know what, I can start him week in and week out. So this is why Gabriel Davis is the guy. He's finally the solidified wide receiver 2 on this team. Cole Beasley, and Emmanuel Sanders is no longer on the team. And I think this is absolutely fantastic for Gabriel Davis. And what was hindering him was those 2 guys, was Cole and Emmanuel Sanders. These guys, he couldn't get started. He couldn't, take the next step. He was always a wide receiver 4 or the wide receiver 3 because these guys were there. But now they got rid of the veterans and they are trusting in Gabriel Davis. For sure, they signed Jamison Crowder. That's probably the next thing people are thinking of.
Sure.
My guy he's only played 16 games in the past 4 years.
16 games in the last 4 years.
Yes, 16 games in the last 4 years.
Damn.
It's not there. He can't stay healthy. It's tough. And mind you, he's operating in a slot as well. Gabriel Davis is wide receiver 2 on the other side of Stephon Diggs.
Right.
Okay. They did re-sign Isaiah McKenzie, but he's more of a special teams guy. They paid him that good money. And Shakira is currently behind Jameis, which is frustrating for me. But I don't believe he's going to be taking anything away, at least right now, from Gabriel Davis. And look, he didn't have too much to really say, hey, this is something amazing. But what I looked at is his percentage.
Playoffs.
Yeah, it was the playoffs that he went crazy. But if you look at within the season, when he had 50% more of snaps on the field, in those 5 games, he was averaging 7 targets per game, 62 plus yards, and a touchdown. That means when he's on the field for a good portion of the game, they are giving him the ball. They are saying, hey, we are trusting you. When Emmanuel Sanders goes down, when Cole goes down, Gabriel Davis steps up and he produces when he's on the field. Okay. Yep. And I think this is what we're going to be seeing. We're going to see more consistency. We're going to see more work from Gabriel Davis. Yes, Stephon Diggs is there. But the way I picture this, I don't think he's going to be demanding the targets because there are a lot of vacant targets now. Cole Beasley, 112 targets this past year. Emmanuel Sanders, 72 targets vacant now in this past year. All those targets aren't going straight to Gabriel Davis. A good portion of it is going to. I think he will probably average, 5 to 7 targets a game. But I think what is key to notice is his red zone targets. It was obviously second in this team, and it's kind of not hard to do that. But within the NFL, he was 14th according to Player Profile, 14th in the red zone target, which is top 15. I guess in the middle of the pack.
Sure.
And that's going to continue. That's going to continue to rise. It's going to continue to get there when he gets more playing time. Mind you, he was 14th as a part-time player, right?
Yeah.
A guy that was barely on the field. So I think he will get more work in a touchdown perspective, not in a target perspective.
Sure.
Oddly enough, I think he will be that Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen. what Adam Thielen is now, I guess, to Justin Jefferson, I guess you can say.
Okay.
I think he will be more of a red zone target, once again, averaging maybe 4 to 6 targets. He's not going to blow you away with targets. It's the red zone targets that you truly want here with Gabriel Davis, which I believe makes him a steal. Once again, wide receiver 42 going in the middle of the 8th as a wide receiver 2, in my opinion, I think is going to continue to rise and rise and rise actually when we get closer to the season. So I think this is a good value pick right now for everyone. It's Gabriel Davis.
If I can have him as my like third or fourth guy on my team, wide receiver wise, I feel pretty comfortable with that because of the upside. I like it. All right, my last value pick is Darrell Henderson.
Oh boy,
the Cam Akers truthers. Close your ears. You're probably not going to love this. And honestly, it's not even a slight against Cam Akers. It's more about how I view the offense. Let's talk about this. All right, his current ADP, he's being drafted as the running back 47. The running back 47 in the last couple mocks. That's the end of the 11th, middle of the 12th is where he was going. Some of the players going around him, James Robinson, probably not going to play this year.
Yeah.
John Mechie probably won't play until week 6. Naeem Hines, Nico Collins, Raheem Mostert, Keontae Ingram.
Hey,
okay?
you got to draft Naeem Hines, man.
Okay, Frank. Let me tell you why there's good value here and why value could be returned. Okay, again, we're talking about players in the 11th, 12th round. All right, I'm trying to give you long shots here, but he had proven production last year with his opportunities. All right, from weeks 1 to 10, he was the running back 12. From weeks 1 to 12, because they had the bye week in week 11, he was running back 13. Then week 13 onwards, he had that injury. Sony Michel took over. He looked really good, so it didn't make sense to really value or put Michel behind Henderson at that point. And look, for a while there, for the first 12 weeks, it was impossible to trade for Darrell Henderson. People were like, there's no way I'm getting off of this offense. This is someone who's consistently giving me good points. He's helping me win games. So he's proven it when he's given the chance. But next, let's talk about the running back rotation here in LA. All right. I think a lot of people, and this is where the philosophical, what's the word I'm looking for there? Anyway, there's a difference in philosophical difference in how we view the offense. So let's look at the last 2 years and the percentage of carries that running backs have had in this offense. 2020. All right. There was a 3-headed backfield. It was Cam Akers with 30% of the carries, Darrell Henderson with 29% of the carries, and then Malcolm Brown with 21% of the carries. How about 2021 last year? Well, keep in mind, Darrell Henderson missed, I think, 6 games, if I'm not mistaken, 5 games. Okay, he was leading this category. Then Sony Michel really got to work. So he had 49% of the carries. Darrell Henderson, 35% of the carries. So in the past 2 years, we haven't seen a running back with over 50% of the carries. And the last time most of them were healthy, we didn't see one that was over 30% of the carries.
Right.
All right. Before this time period, Todd Gurley was worked, but he was also Todd freaking Gurley, guys. Cam Akers, no disrespect, he is not Todd Gurley. I don't believe that he can handle that kind of workload. And Todd Gurley didn't just come off an Achilles injury. Okay. So to me, someone who's coming off an Achilles, we have such a deep history of understanding what the Achilles does to a running back. Wouldn't a coaching staff say to themselves, let's set up a running back rotation here. Let's not put too much pressure, because Henderson, he got injured when it was full workload. Cam, he already has the injury. And we saw Todd Gurley in our very own offense break down, like before our eyes.
Yeah.
Historically fast compared to what we've seen other running backs.
Right.
So is it crazy for me to suggest that Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers could potentially get around the same amount of carries in this offense? Is it crazy for me to suggest that? And in such a high-powered offense, what would that be worth, right? We're talking about a running back room here. The elephant in the room, Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, Kyron Williams just broke his foot, Jake Funk. All these guys have suffered injuries. So in an offense that scored the top 6 points per game last year with Matthew Stafford, if I can summarize, Akers is currently going in round 3. Henderson currently going in rounds 11 and 12. I don't think it's all that crazy to suggest that Henderson could have similar usage. I think, the common thought, and even my thought, is that Akers should be the guy. But I don't think it's insane to suggest that we could see Darrell Henderson get 35 to 40% of the opportunities in this backfield. And I think that could present value. And worst case scenario, if Akers does get injured, I don't want him to, but then you have another top 15 to 20 guy that you can rely on. So in round 12, I will take that. I'm not so certain. Maybe before the Achilles, you could say, yeah, I want you to go out there and give Cam Akers 18 touches a game. After the Achilles, how long do you want to extend this young guy's career? Do you really want to give him that kind of work? So for me, Henderson is someone that we've seen McVay rely on before.
Right.
He's liked him. And I just think it's a little bit, I don't think it's crazy to suggest that Henderson could have a role. And for me, I think he's one of the most valuable handcuffs, if not a rotational guy. So I'll take him in the 12th all day.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously, I'm a Cam Akers believer. I think he is worth rostering just in case of that Cam Akers injury, I think.
Sure.
And to have a role, I don't think it would affect Cam Akers truly, at least in my eyes. But I see what you're saying, for sure. I can see how that can happen, especially with the injury with Cam Akers.
I get where you're coming from. Historically, it does say that there would be a role for Darrell Henderson. Yeah. Just saying from what we've seen. So
yeah, for sure. All right, my second.
I said Cam Akers truthers weren't gonna like it. So
yeah, no, I get it.
It's not an anti-Cam take. It's a wow. Look at the value for Darrell.
Yeah, for Darrell, exactly. All right, my second value pick is Kadarius Toney. Another guy I kind of wanted to bring to you as a value pick, kind of like a Gabriel Davis for sure. Wide receiver 48 in our pass, in the current ADP for our pass mocks, and then wide receiver 42. So he's going around in the middle of the 8th as well. Players also going around to him: Christian Kirk, Hunter Renfrow, Roberto, Tyler Lockett, Olave, Wilson. Once again, you probably don't want to be banking on these rookie guys. So why would he return the value? Honestly, 3 things: upside, volume, and yards after the catch. The guy is a monster. We all know who he is. He did it in college. He was leading it in college, and then obviously we saw it in the NFL. It's kind of hard to break that down because he was injured so much. Okay, he did miss 8 games. He finished wide receiver 89. I do believe he's probably the most explosive guys on this New York Football Giants team, and they've turned the page. As always, I've said this on our Dynasty channel, that new offensive coordinator, new head coach, they're going to let Danny Dimes loose, at least the hope and expectations. Better offensive line, better offensive coordinator that worked with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs over there. And we saw a very minuscule glimpse of what Kadarius Toney can do. Go watch that Dallas game. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Honestly, that is the best. That's all you need. Honestly. And half of that game,
the upside.
Yeah, and half of that game was with Mike Glennon. Okay, 10 receptions, 13 targets, 189 yards, 29.6 fantasy points. He was truly explosive. I think if there was any type of offense that the Giants are going to run this year, that game will probably be the definition. All they did was throw the ball and hyper target Kadarius Toney. Mike Glennon tried to hyper target Kenny Golladay, but he did unfortunately leave that game as well earlier. Daniel Jones was. So once again, upside, volume, and yards after the catch, and I think that's where Kadarius Toney makes his money, is the yards after the catch. Once again, go watch that game, and the value is fantastic. I do believe he can finish. And I hope, and maybe this is bullish because I'm a Giants fan and maybe that's skewing it. I do believe he can finish as a top 25 wide receiver if he stays healthy.
Sure.
Okay. I'm not saying he's going to be this guy. You know, right now we're getting him as a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 value, that with a guy that could potentially finish as a mid to high end wide receiver 2 if he does play every single game in the 2022 season, excuse me. So this is just, why not take a chance on a guy? Once again, yards after the catch and receptions. And this is what you want, in a PPR format. You want a guy that's going to get targets. You want a guy that's going to get the volume. Kadarius Toney, if he can stay healthy, the Joker, my guy could be a fantastic value
Sure.
coming into a redraft season.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
You know how much I loved him coming into the draft last year. And then
Yeah.
I was like, got drafted to the Giants. I
Got
have
drafted
to
to the
hate this guy.
Giants,
Like, and I
honestly.
just have to
Hey,
inherently hate
The
him.
draft capital too. Oh, another thing. Don't be saying he's injury prone. We only saw one season. Everyone
Sure.
gets hurt one season saying, well, I'm not drafting him. He's injury prone. I'm not drafting him because of this or that.
Sure.
I think like if he continues to get injured, maybe in second year, and it's
Right.
like, damn, he's missing another 8 games, we can have the conversation.
Sure.
But I think, just like a lot of people that come in the first year, they're getting used to their body's getting used to the NFL. They get injured, whatever, the new trainers, new whatever, the new minds. You have to get your body acclimated to the NFL, and I think that's what happened with Kadarius Toney.
Sure.
So we
Say
got
the upside is the upside's there. No
Yeah.
doubt. No doubt that the upside's there for Tony. Let's see what happens. I'm really curious to see what that offense is going to look like.
Oh my gosh.
Either because Dable's been making these moves where I said this before, but it's like I'm smarter than everyone else type moves. Like either he is or he's not.
Look,
so we'll find out.
They're gonna be in the middle of a pack team, I think.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let us know if you like these values, or let us know what your favorite value is this year. Go ahead and comment down below.
Yo, what's good?
What
Thanks
up?
for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
Watch
Now,
it.
You can also subscribe
Right now.
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.